And the Supreme Court's allowing the Trump administration to slash hundreds of millions of dollars in research funding in its push to cut federal diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. The court lifted a judge's order blocking $783 million worth of cuts made by the National Institutes of Health, but the court did keep Trump administration guidance on future funding blocked. Senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer has more. So, Devin, the plaintiffs have argued that these cuts will inflict incalculable losses in public health and human life. The Justice Department says funding decisions shouldn't be subjected to judicial second-guessing, and that DEI efforts can, in their words, conceal insidious racial discrimination. So how did the justices reach their decision here?
This really fragmented the Supreme Court, Diane, and it came in a challenge to those executive orders that President Trump signed very early on, rooting out DEI initiatives, funding for COVID research, and also gender identity at the National Institutes of Health. What happened at the Institute is they issued a guidance memo outlining which research projects the government would no longer fund. They came up with a list, $780 million of projects. Those were canceled. And the recipients of those grants went to court, and the Supreme Court yesterday said that they would refuse to block those the lower court order for now, meaning the government can't be forced to pay out money it will never get back while this litigation proceeds. But in something of an interesting twist, the Supreme Court did say that the government's guidance, what it put out saying which projects are good and which projects are bad, maybe wasn't so clear, might have actually been illegal, and in the terms of the law, arbitrary and capricious. So what that means is going forward, these government grants can't be blocked. But for now, the ones that the Trump administration identified can be put on hold, Diane.
The ruling allows the administration to move forward with canceling hundreds of grants while the lawsuit continues. So what's the potential impact here, and what are you watching for next?
Well, a number of public health researchers that I've talked to say that this is a significant blow. Anybody who works in science and research knows that simply halting a project midstream is not good for science. It can corrupt the data, and therefore all of it is flushed down the drain. So a lot of consternation about what the Supreme Court has done here, but this is not the last word. The Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett said explicitly that these research organizations, these states and universities, can still challenge the cancellation of these research grants in the Court of Federal Claims. There's other avenues of pursuing this. And again, the Supreme Court did freeze the Trump administration's memo on future cuts, meaning at least the justices seem to think that the way the government is going about this, ending research in all corners of our government simply because they believe it's allegedly affiliated with DEI, has not been adequately laid out. It's arbitrary. And so, at least for now, that's some good news for researchers who may have been fearful that their grants could be in the target, Diane.
All right, Devin Dwyer, thank you.